Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do my old gold, kind of a blended look on some doors. I actually started doing this a few years back because I couldn't blend. So I tried blending with a sponge and ended up with this kind of vintagey textured look, which I quite liked. So I've stuck with it. I don't think I've ever managed to learn how to blend. I need Brandy to give me a lesson, clearly, but this is a look that I like, and I thought I'd show you as well. So I start off by just using up any old colours that I've got. This is probably a bit of Goddess Ashwagandha, it's got a bit of Bedford in it, so just the ends of some pots just to get a neutral base on the background of the piece of furniture I'm going to paint. Just something like, I mean, you can use any colour really. You just want like a fairly good coverage. 2 coats doesn't have to be brilliant. That's why this is really a good look to do, because it covers a multitude of sins. So I've done all that on the piece of furniture, and then these are the 2 doors that come off the front, and I will work on the whole piece as well and show you how you've got to try and work the look going across. So what you need is a few different types of things you can use. Like I say, I like a sea sponge. I've got a few extra bits of them there. A chamois leather's quite nice. Bits of crunched up paper, brown paper, plastic, anything to get that kind of frottage look is what we're calling it. Anyway, so I start off, my favourite colour for doing this with is bronze. And I haven't used this for a little while, so you can see it's pretty gunked up, but that really doesn't matter. So you can either use it neat, or you can mix a bit of glaze with it. Just depends on how much open time you're looking for. The glaze keeps the paint from drying too quick, that's what it's for. And also, the thicker the paint, the more raised texture you're going to get. So I would play about on a piece of wood first to try and get an idea of what it is, you know, the look that you like. You can use different colours. My favourite is bronze, but you can use any of the metallics work really well, to be honest, because they just have that kind of reflective quality. So there's lots of different colours you can use, like vintage golds and all sorts of colours, just, you know, and layer them up and mix them up as well. So anyway, I've just got, I went about 50-50 there with some glaze and Fusions bronze, which is my favourite metallic. I don't know why, it just has that really nice vintagey look. So you're not going to aim for necessarily full coverage. You can, it really is just a play about. So I'm going to tip this camera down, my new stand. Ooh, this is quite good, isn't it? I'm going to tip it down and kind of show you what I do. So you need to work quite fast. You can damp your sponge, whatever it is that you want to do, perhaps mist it. Now, it's quite scary at first because it leaves quite a bit of texture. The trick with the sponge is not to just keep pressing and using it in the same way like that, because you'll end up with this very sort of distinct pattern. The best way to use it is to keep moving it around, and that way you're moving the paint as well. You can go for totally full coverage, or you can go for, you know, a more mottled effect where you're still seeing some of your background colour. So that's just really simple to get some kind of coverage going there. If you want to get into those corners, you might want to use a smaller piece of sponge. You could brush it into the corners and then, you know, go back in with your sponge afterwards to create more texture. The other product that's really nice with this as well is antique glaze. So there's me going with the bronze all the way around. I just want to get right into, just concentrating on this inner panel at the moment. So you can see the sort of the texture isn't the same in the edges. But that's going to be all right in a minute. Okay, so you just want to try and get rid of those. I don't really want those bright spots. This might be really nice with, go over it with a different, like I say, different colour metallic. So I might mix in some copper in a minute. I really just make it up and see what I like. So here we go. This is just some packaging paper that I've just got literally got out of a box just now. So you want it really screwed up, because what you're trying to, you can do it in newspaper as well. Some people like to get a really big piece and press it down over the whole thing. I like patting it about, but it really, like I say, I would suggest that what you do first is practice on a board. So I don't know if you can see, that's really starting to get, it's got that little, almost like you've got the creases from the paper showing. So I just really like this effect. And I have got a tiny bit of background colour. So depending on what background you put, will have an effect on the overall colour. I quite like messing around and using, say, red under some gold. The only thing about using paper is it starts to deteriorate after a while, and so it's hard to keep it consistent. So the other thing you could do is use plastic. If you were at PBA last year, you would have seen Kate Whitson using plastic. Now this is quite a stiff plastic, so you know, have a practice with a bit of cling film and see what you get. What's quite nice about this is that it will take some of the paint off. So that's the only thing I did have on my very first piece that I ever did. I had bits of paper stuck in it. So here we go. Look, can you see that now some of the base colour is now starting to show through, which I quite like. I might stick with the plastic actually. I think with the plastic, you're going to get a more consistent look, because like I say, the paper starts to deteriorate. Ooh, I've got hair. The good thing about glaze means you can mess around for quite some time. The only thing with glaze is that it's not as strong as paint, and so you end up having to, you will need to top coat it on, you know, high traffic areas, because it's not as strong as the paint itself. So you can start to see that the base coat is starting to come through. So like I say, you need to experiment with that. So I would start off with some little test boards, and as you can see there, so you could use, you can come back in, I've missed a couple of spots here. You could go back in with your brush, it's not really going to matter. Just use any old brush for this, but just so you just don't want those glaringly obvious bright bits. That's all I would say. And then go back in and knock that back with a bag, or you know, get your sponge and go back in. And what's quite nice, you can play about now and you can actually do a bit of shading. So can you see this is getting dark around the edge? Because I wanted to get rid of those little lines. Okay, and then so the more the thicker the paint, the more raised texture you're going to get. So I'm going to go back again now. So I want to just blend that a little bit more, and then you can leave this to dry. And like I say, you might want to come back in a little while and put a, you know, a lighter colour metallic there. So I'll go and get a lighter colour metallic. I think I'm going to use some champagne gold. So not massively different, but it will just give me that highlight. Oh yeah, and by the way, wear gloves. This is messy. I'm messy enough. Yes, I was using my teeth then. I'm messy enough with a paintbrush, let alone with a sponge getting on my hand. So this is like a much lighter version of that. So I'm just gonna scrape a bit of that off there. Like I say, you can use the glaze, you don't have to. Maybe you might want to grab a different sponge. Otherwise you might end up with everything looking very muddy, all the same colour. So I've just tipped this on my plate. And it doesn't matter if you end up with a little bit of, you know, the original colour. So as you can see with this is sort of too, you know, you're seeing the pattern of the sponge, not enough, doesn't look real, does it? Doesn't look genuine. So I'm going to concentrate on the middle here, then I'm going to get my bag, bring it up again, and what I'm trying to do now is blend that in. So you can see why I thought this is my way of doing blending. This is how I tried to do blending. It is kind of blending. So I think that's too strong. So now I'll go back, and I will go back and put in a little bit of the bronze. Like I say, don't forget to keep turning your sponge. You can even twist it. You know, there's so many different little things that you can do. So the only thing is here, I've got 2 doors. What I would do, advise you to do, is work on the doors at the same time, so that you've got more chance of getting a consistent effect. See, that's too blocky for me. I want a little bit more. I mean, I'm in danger in a minute of getting rid of this lighter colour altogether, aren't I? So, okay. So you just play about with it until you get, and you can walk away and leave it, and you can come back and put more coats on. But I hope that gives you an idea of what I'm trying to achieve. I'm going to do the outside of the door, and I'm going to do the other door as well. So like I say, so that we get a consistent look. Work on the other door now. I'm actually going to do it slightly differently. I'm going to start by filling in this raised scallop edge. So this isn't one of these effects where there's a set way of doing anything. And also the other thing to remember, that's a hair, I think this is, look, it's a rubbishy little paintbrush. They are never worth the effort, are they, if they do that to you. So it's one of those effects where you can come back to it. You can walk away, go have a bit of lunch or something, and then come back and go, oh, I don't like that, that's too green, or I want to see, I mean, you could even come back with the base coat. Say you thought, oh no, I really wanted to see a little bit more of that base coat showing through. Go get some, put it on the plate, sponge that in as well so that you get more of that colour showing through. There are no rules. See, I'm actually not liking the base coat showing through. And instead, that's why I'm using a second colour. But when I've done this before, I haven't bothered with 2 colours. See, I really like these bags. It does give it that nice. And the great thing about the metallics is the reflection. Just gives another dimension. Okay, are we getting close to what we had on this one? Not really. Okay, so I'm going to get my lighter colour. She says, oh, there it is. Tip it on my plate. Like I say, a mixture of the 2 wouldn't hurt either. Copper would be good too. I really like colours like copper. As you might have noticed, it's one of my favourites. So this is really all quite mottled in, whereas I have done, you know, the insides of drinks cabinets and things and left the texture quite obvious. I've gone in with the sponge there, didn't really need to do that, meant to put it in the bag. So the cabinet I've got has got 2 doors, 3 drawers in the middle, absolutely huge. So it is hard. I mean, glaze has this, it gives you more open time so that you can work on things for a little bit longer. But I would do, you know, the 2 cupboards the same, the set of drawers in the middle the same, as in at the same time. So these look a little bit different. I think it's actually just the light. I've got great light here. If I tip them both that way, yeah, they're looking more consistent. You're not going to get it perfect. Might also be nice. I'm telling you, there are hairs in here. Burn that brush, that's what I say. And now it would be good to do the outside. And maybe with the outside I will not use any of the lighter colour at all. So I'm going to go around here. But as you can see, this is a really fast technique to work with. And this piece of furniture had so much damage on it, and it was heavily waxed, which meant that it was really difficult to get a nice finish on it. You know, if I'd gone for like a pristine paint effect, you know, just one colour, solid colour, the problem with that is that as it was waxed, the chances of some of that, you know, like not adhering properly or something would, you know, when you're going for that plain look, isn't a great idea sometimes with wax pieces. Even though I scrubbed it, I even primed it, I just wanted, with some Zinsser, just wanted to try and soak up a little bit. So you could just leave it like that, but I'm not happy with that base colour actually. So I'm going to go, and maybe what I might do now is I might even add some antique glaze. So I'm totally making this up. I'm just sort of, you know, standing back, looking and thinking, I quite like the idea of making this even darker around the edge. What do you think? And I'm quite liking the fact that this is quite solid in texture. So you don't have to necessarily use another metallic. I could just add some chocolate brown, get in there with some chocolate brown to darken it. I'm just going to try and be consistent and do the same on this door, because we want to try and get a nice look. It's looking quite grey on camera. I don't know if that's showing. I mean, the metallic the bronze metallic has got quite a green overtone to it. Overtone, maybe even an undertone. So I'm just pouring a bit more out, mixing in a bit of glaze. The more glaze you've got, now this is really thick, I've probably gone too far with that. I've got way too much paint. So I'm going to spread that around. See the texture? Too much texture. But that's okay, I can come back in. And you can leave it to dry in between. If you leave it to dry in between and then come in with another colour, you can sort of build that texture up. You might like that. If you go with greys, different shades of grey, you end up looking with like a stone effect. That can be pretty nice. Okay, so although that's not filled in all the gaps, some, you know, the plastic seems to do that. I love that. It gives it a really, you can see that. It gives it a frottage look. Oh, nice bit of fluff. Where's that come from? The metallics really photograph nicely as well, that's what I find. So if you get the right light on it, this will end up looking quite gold, and in the shadows it will look quite bronze. The other good thing about this is, you know, you can go back and touch it up. So I haven't done like the edges of the drawers or anything, but that's going to be easy enough to come back and do that. So you just play around. And what I'll do in a sec is I will film myself painting the rest of the cabinet, and I'll do it on a speedy up camera thing. What's that called? Time lapse, that's it. Oh look, I'm getting some nice bag effects, crease. But there, I'll just use my finger there, but that's okay. I can go back in and take that away. So, I'll take some pictures in a minute. Right, stand back, come back in, have a look. Go around the other side of the table, look at it from a different side of the table. Do you know what? I'm liking this veiny effect. I am tempted to leave this to dry and then come back with a more of a pure gold and get more of the effect with the bags. You know, maybe I'll use a different weight of plastic. This, like I say, this is quite robust, this one. Okay, I can see the base coat showing through there and I don't like it. So I'm going to put that away. But even if I miss that, I can come back when it's dry and do that. Okay. I'm going to leave that for a little bit now. Walk away, she says, and she carries on. And come back in a little while. And see what you think. I actually did think maybe some images on here, like, I don't know, sort of Georgian ladies or something, or some flowers or something. It might be really nice in the middle, or some birds. So I might try that later. And this would be good if you were doing some decoupage in the middle. You know, you could tear a piece and then you would be able to blend in around it. So, okay, I'm going to leave that for now. Go have some lunch and I'll come back and have a little look in a little while. Let me know what you think. I thought I'd come back and show you the next stage of this monster cupboard with this glazing, and just remind you what I'm using. I'm using a mixture of Fusion's glaze and my favourite bronze, but I've just mixed a little bit of copper in it because I thought it was looking a little bit grey. Is that the word? I don't know. Anyway, just want to show you how quick this glazing is with the natural sea sponge. So this is a process I've done. This looks really garish, I know, but this copper is all going to be knocked back with the glaze. This is a process. It's layers and layers and layers of paint. So this is the base layer. This is some accents, and now I'm going to do some glazing. But what I want to show you is how quick this is to cover a panel. So I just like to do the edges with a brush. Really messy. You just really, what you're trying to do, you're trying to get all the glaze into all the nooks and crannies that your sponge can't get into. So I'm going to slop, and I'm literally, as you can see, slopping into those bits, and all your edges. So there, yeah, because the sponge won't get in there. See these little, I don't know if you can see them. There's actually a couple of lines there, grooves, and I just want to get the glaze right in there. Okay, and then the top edge. Okay, so just up here, like I say, the sponge won't get in there. And then, so don't forget, with this glaze, this looks quite scary. With this glaze, it really does take a long time to dry. Okay, so I have mixed it on my plate. I do like a plate. Here's my sponge. Right, watch this. So you just want to get the glaze on, okay, that panel. This actually, I was thinking, would be quite good for doing some wood graining. You could kind of do that and then get a wood graining tool. Anyway, I digress. So I'm going to just do my sponging. So this I just really like because it really just adds a nice bit of texture. So don't forget to keep moving your sponge. You can even do some twisting actions if you like. That's quite interesting effect. But as you can see, look, you just can't get in those edges. Don't get in there. But how fast is that? And that will cover a multitude of sins. So we can do these panels as well now. Might need a little bit more. And we will refine it a bit more in a moment with a bag. But let's just get this whole panel done. You can even get in there because that's what I'm trying to knock back, all that copper. If you miss a bit, you definitely can come back. If you take too much off, you can come back as well. Look at my arm ache. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. Is that like good? Yeah, so you can really see, but it does look a bit like someone has just dabbed all over with a sea sponge. So we want to just try and get rid of, the lines are quite good actually, because you want to get rid of them all. So if you have lines, you can see where you've missed and you can eradicate all those. Yeah, and now I'm going to get my plastic bag. All right, I stored all this lot overnight in a plastic bag. Oh, where's it gone? Here it is. I stored it overnight in a plastic bag, and including the sponge, and they stayed nice and moist. So this is a sandwich bag. So it's a little bit thicker, which I quite like. It's actually a little bit unwieldy on smaller surfaces like this, but it doesn't matter. So it's sticky from last night. So I think this is a little bit more sophisticated looking. What do you think? So you should really move it around a bit, because you start getting these kind of like repeat patterns. They are like up there. It's a bit too much product. Give it a couple of pats. So this has got that light base coat, which really is quite light. I'm actually thinking about coming over again after this and either dry brushing to pick up some of the texture or going over the top with another glaze. Just to add a bit of depth, or going lighter in the middle with a lighter glaze and blending it out to make it look, I don't know, give it a bit of depth. So, right, these layering bits at the bottom, again, oh, right, scary amount of glaze. You really want to work it into all of the crevices. On top of this bronze, it's almost as if there's not actually enough of a difference in colour. So I might end up going back again with maybe antique glaze, you know, which has definitely got a brown tone. So you want to get in all these spots, because really what you're trying to do, you're trying to get the glaze to sit in all the crevices like dirt would, yeah? So, okay, keep going, keep going. I don't know, if you brush over, you see, it doesn't get into all the little spots, because the copper is definitely a little bit brash for this. So I'm trying to get in. Oh, isn't the legs on this unbelievable? Have you seen them? It's got like it's a claw, and the scale of it is huge. Right, so I'm getting in all around the ball, and then gonna wipe with this. Looks so messy, doesn't it? It is quite a messy process. I must admit, went home with quite a lot of paint on me last night. Oh! Getting all the spots. So this is looking really messy, eh? And now, start your dabbing. Keep that plastic somewhere. I don't want it to get any dirt on it though. So I don't want to actually put it on the floor. See, like you get like little bright spots that you don't want. So you want to get in there with your brush and make sure that all the places, let me bring you a bit nearer, all the places where dirt would sit are, wrong way, it's over there, isn't it? Here, this is the one I'm painting. All the spaces, you know, all the places, in here, in here, in here. This is all the spaces that the spaces dirt would sit. The other nice thing about glaze is it's water-based. So say you hated this, you could just paint over it with your base coat, or, you know, a whole different colour if you really, really don't like it. So there we go, we're getting that, that's coming up. now I want to take some of this off. So I'm going to get a bit of shop towel, soft cloth, lint-free cloth, something like that would work. And what I'm trying to do here is I want to get off and reveal some of the copper. So the way to do this is to kind of, you want to get the high spots where the dirt wouldn't sit, it would be wiped off. So the opposite to what we were just doing. You can also, I could just leave it like that, and then I could go back tomorrow when it's dry and dry brush and bring those colours out even more. And then I'm just going to do this little edge here, because they definitely need. So again, it's just the high spots. What do you think? Quite subtle? And then I might even paint the balls gold. This is the problem with me. These pieces like this, it's kind of, you know, it evolves as time goes on. So anyway, that's the next stage. But I just wanted to show you how fast that is. Isn't that fun? And then I'm going to do the front and the, let me just show you the whole piece. Oh, there we go. Oh, looking a bit bright. I had to paint the inside because it was painted black. I have no idea why it was painted black. So it's got 2 drawers. And here's the doors that I did yesterday, which I think I'm going to do a bit more work on. So here we go. I feel like I want to either put some decoupage in the middle or definitely go a bit lighter. But anyway, this is sort of stage 2. You've got your base coat, your glazing, and then you've got to try other products on top to lift it just that bit more. I'll do a speeded up one for the rest of the cabinet. Look at my legs, they look really weird, like they're broken or something. See you later. Thought I'd come back and show you the finished product. Although saying that, I'm still a little bit like a tweak with, but you can go on forever, can't you? So anyway, I thought I'd get it photographed and staged and up for sale. So just wanted to show you how it's come out. Now, you can see a slight difference between the drawers and the frames. Now that's one coat of the, you know, the whole frottage, whatever you want to call it. And that's 2. So that's adding more of the bronze and the, you know, and the glaze over it. I kind of liked the way it looked a bit different. I didn't want it to be all exactly the same. I didn't know if it would just sort of blend into one a bit too much. So a couple of the things that I did differently. So I don't know if you can see the legs. I went away with the copper. I got rid of it. I didn't like it. It was really too brash against everything else. So what I did, I mixed some of the copper and coal black from Fusion Mineral Paint, of course, and I used that to like shade everything with, and it was really surprising. I kept putting more and more black in, and yet the coppery colour, not the copper, the bronze colour still showed through all the glittery bits. So I used that for all the shading, and I also used it for sort of the edges of the doors, anywhere I wanted like a little bit extra depth. I put a bit around in here, and even here what I did was I still was using my sponge. So I would sponge around with the darker mix and then put I mix a little bit of gold with the bronze. So I sort of had 3 shades. I had my bronze with the glaze, then for darkness I had my bronze with black, and for the lighter colour I had my bronze with gold. So that was the way to get the 3 shades. I mean, in some, you know, I could go on a bit further here and maybe shade it a bit more, but I kind of like it. Someone said maybe what I should have done was put an image in here. I do quite fancy that idea. So, I mean, I could go on forever. Some sort of like Georgian lady or something, I don't know. I know they got some nice ones that Jonathan Mark Mendes has done. they would be good. So I wasn't brave enough to do anything on the outside. So what I did was I went and did something on the inside instead. Let me just show you a little bit more. So here, this is a decoupage paper from a new company called Made by Marley. And I liked this yellow, well, it's fruit, but I'm thinking a ball, and it was a bird, and I'm thinking, you know, the claw and the foot, and that's why I almost did put that on the outside. Maybe I should have done, I don't know. Anyway, so interestingly, this piece of decoupage paper was a little bit small to do in one piece on this door, so I don't know if you can see, but I actually kind of ripped up the page, and I liked it. I liked this sort of antique-y look where I sort of ripped and stuck things on, and then I used Posh chalk paste, metallic paste, through a stencil to add a bit more the sort of 3D detail. Let me see if I can take you off this and show you a little bit more. I'm gonna have to turn you around, which is always a problem. Yep, not gonna let me. Oh, anyway, I just wanted to show you. Can you see? So the paper has been ripped up, and then you can see this is actually really quite textured. But I kind of wanted to give it like a little bit of a 3D effect. And then I dark waxed it. It needed to be sort of aged. It was too kind of brash. So yeah, and then areas like this where there was detail. Oh, did you see that leaf just fall down? That's my staging for you. Can you see the mirror underneath that I used for my staging? It fell off and onto the floor, and I thought, oh my God, 7 years bad luck. But it just chipped all the frame up. So I can fix that, that's not a problem. It's only for staging, it's not a fantastic mirror or anything. Yeah, so what I did here with these darker colours, so here I actually painted that whole trim in the blacky bronze finish, and then dry brushed with the goldy colour on the top, so that you've got this natural kind of shading going on. Just going around fiddling with it a bit here on the trim. Maybe there's a little bit more, too much gold on that, I might knock that back. I'm even thinking, as I painted the balls of the feet gold, and I really wanted them to pop, I'm actually now thinking perhaps what I should have done was gold leafed. I could just go on forever. I drive myself absolutely insane. So I think I'm just going to leave it now. I've staged it, but I might tweak it. Oh, and then my other thing is, it was awful inside. It was painted black. It was just looked too dark. So this is paper. This is a bit of velvet, and I did the drawers inside velvet. Don't know if you can see that. I haven't got my wine bottles in there. You know, this little thing I do with the carpet tubes. Might do that. And then what I did was a real quick way of doing the insides of things, where you're not necessarily after that perfect finish that you have on the outside. I use a wash. So I made it up with milk paint by Fusion. You can use the Homestead House milk paint, it's all the same. Colour mustard, because I thought that was kind of like quite a nice gold effect, and it just lifted the inside. Being black was awful. And that's kind of it. Oh, and all the handles. So all the handles, these are the original handles. They weigh an absolute ton. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Had to fix the locks. There's so many things to do on these old pieces of furniture. And again, this is the black and bronze mix. Just 2 coats. Just cleaned them, gave them a little bit of a scuff, and 2 coats, and they're absolutely gorgeous. So that's really finished it off. So just wanted to show you the finished product. And what do you think? Yeah, that was my staging on the top. Bits of old furniture, any old candles, anything I could find. Yeah, so that's it finished, really, as much as it's going to be. And I'll put some photos up as well, so that you can have a look at that as well and let me know what you think. If you want any questions, you know, if you've got any questions, just ask me, and I'll try and help you with it. Anyway, until the next time.